Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Asian Vision Dialogue. As you may know, Japan's new defense vision is laid out in 3 strategic documents. So in this episode, we are going to talk one of the documents in a little bit detail about the national security strategy of Japan and also the implication for the Indo-Pacific region. And I am very pleased and honored to be joined by Mr. TANINAI Ichitomo from the Embassy of Japan. So, greeting, Mr. Tomo.
Chumripso.
Thank you, Mr. Tomo, for taking your valuable time joining us today.
You are very welcome.
Yeah, so without further delay, allow me to start our dialogue now.
Sure.
Yes. So before we jump into the main topic of our discussion, I'm a bit curious about your perspective on the current geopolitics surrounding Japan and in the Indo-Pacific region. So could you kindly briefly talk about it?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this distinguished interview series, and I'd like to congratulate the 1-year anniversary of the dialogue of ABI. And yes, so I'd like to say just a few words in the outset that what I'm going to say today is entirely of my own opinion and not necessarily reflect the Japanese government view. Yes. So you asked about the geopolitics in the Pacific. And well, looking at it from the positive side, Indo-Pacific region has become one of the world's centers of growth. And it provides the great opportunity for many countries and people for the greater economic prosperity. So in terms of economic growth, most countries in the region are currently opening up again its borders after the COVID. And there are the favorable prediction about economic growth in the region, and including Cambodia. And also strong and numerous trade and investment relations generally benefit every country involved. And today, I'd like to point out that most countries in the region, including Japan and Cambodia, are institutionalizing their trade and investment relations through EPAs and FTAs like CPTPP, which is a TPP-11, RCEP, AGCEP, and other multilateral investment agreements. However, from Japanese perspective, if you look at the security environment in the region, the situation is more severe and complex than it has been since the Second World War. Perhaps the most concerning aspect is that some countries are trying to change the status quo by force, so which will endanger the territorial sovereignty of other countries. So indeed, the security environment in the area surrounding Japan has changed dramatically since the previous national security strategy of Japan was issued in 2013. So Richard Haas describes the current world order as in disarray, where all the geopolitical risks are colliding with complex new challenges. I give you a few examples. First, China has expanded its military power rapidly. It became 2.2 times larger in 10 years and 39 times larger in 30 years. So it is intensifying its attempts to unilaterally change the status quo in East China Sea and South China Sea. Second, North Korea has recently escalated its ballistic missile launches in clear violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. Last year, North Korea launched more than 70 missiles, and one of them flew over Japan and landed in Pacific Ocean. And it has been making rapid progress with missile-related technology and its operational capabilities, and it intends to enhance its nuclear capability, both in terms of quality and quantity at maximum speed. Third, Russia is continuing its aggression against Ukraine in clear violation of international law, including United Nations Charter that prohibits the use of force. Russia's military activities have shaken the very foundation of the international order. So if we allow Russia to use force to take what they want, similar thing could happen in the Indo-Pacific region in the future. So therefore, to sum up, although the region offers great opportunity for all of us, but we see that the geopolitical situation in the region has become increasingly severe and complex.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tomo. So we're moving on to another interesting question talking about our main topic of today's discussion. As we already know that the national security strategy of Japan unveils the new kinds of strategic guideline for the country. So could you kindly talk a little bit further about the purpose of the strategy and what are the means to achieve those objectives?
Yes, thank you. Japan formulated its new national security strategy last December. This was the first update in 9 years. So maintaining security within the region has become much more challenging. So with this in mind, the strategy primarily aims to defend Japan's sovereignty, territorial integrity, independence, as well as securing the safety of its own nationals. The new strategy, new security policy is mainly defined in the national security strategies, with supplementary details defined in the National Defense Strategy and the Defense Program. And the strategic guidance and policies detailed in these 3 documents show there has been a major shift in our security policy since the Second World War. The strategy is to be implemented in accordance with fundamental principles, including first, proactive contribution to peace based on international cooperation. Second, supporting universal values such as human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Third, coexistence and co-prosperity with other countries, cooperation with like-minded countries, and multilateral cooperation. And Japan will implement strategic approaches, including first, conducting diplomacy guided by the vision of FOIP, which stands for Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy. And the second, fundamentally reinforce its defense capabilities, including introducing counter-strike capabilities. The third, significantly reinforce its maritime law enforcement capabilities. Fourth, strengthen the Japan-US alliance and cooperation with like-minded countries. This strategy directs that, as you said on the outset, that we allocate 2% of the current GDP to defense capabilities and complementary initiative by financial year 2027, while, as you may know, that the current level is just 1%. So it shows that Japan's will to further contribute to the regional and the international peace and security. At the same time, I'd like to mention that the strategy provides the guidance on promoting international cooperation, especially official development assistance, which is ODA. For instance, like in the area of high quality infrastructure, human resource development, maritime security, and the rule of law. Therefore, the new strategy demonstrates a very important shift in Japan's national security strategy, and it is essentially designed to enhance our own capabilities in order to counter the growing security challenges in the area around Japan and in the region. However, it also emphasizes the need for an enhanced diplomatic and multilateral approach, such as FOIP. So we develop efforts centered on diplomacy to prevent crisis, proactively create a peaceful and stable international environment, and strengthen a free and open international order. I'd like to introduce that Jennifer Lind of Dartmouth College of the United States recently wrote in the Foreign Affairs magazine that Japan's move is good news and signals a greater contribution by a peaceful country to security in Asia. And lastly, I'd like to mention that His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhon, when he visited Japan recently and met with his counterpart, Foreign Minister Hayashi of Japan, he expressed his support to this strategy, and we appreciate the Cambodian leaders' understanding and trust in this regard.
All right. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Tomo, for your very comprehensive answer to the question. So another thing that I have spotted, an interesting statement in the document, it says the scope of the national security is expanded to the economic field and other fields. So this means that the boundary of the military and non-military field is no longer clear-cut. So could you kindly elaborate on this statement?
Yes, yeah, I think that's a very good point. And modern warfare is increasing hybrid affairs. There are no longer clear-cut boundaries between military and non-military means. I recall that Blackwell and Harris articulated this in their 2016 book, War by Other Means, Geoeconomics and Statecraft. I give you an example. There are many high-tech products made for non-military purposes that can be transferred to the military purpose. Because the private sector is increasingly produce the products and machineries that can be used for the military purpose, so which is called dual-use products. So many countries are becoming increasingly aware of the need to tighten export control. Another example is the use of economic coercion. Some countries are trying to expand their own influence by economically coercing other countries. So they do this by, for example, restricting the export of mineral resources, food, and industrial and medical supplies, or by providing loans to nations in a manner that ignores their debt sustainability. So therefore, the new national security strategy rightly incorporates guidance on economic security.
All right, yes, thank you. So we move on to another few questions that are related to the strategy as well.
Yes.
And I would like to know a little bit what is included in the comprehensive national powers of Japan, whether it is military power, economic power, or another kinds of.
Okay, yes. Japan needs to upgrade its national power in a comprehensive manner in order to respond to a severe and complex security environment that I have just described. So this does not mean that Japan is only focusing on the enhancement of the defense capabilities, but also it should include economic, diplomatic, technological, and intelligence capabilities as well. Among these areas, applying skillful diplomacy is critically important and highly relevant to the region's peace and stability. So it is necessary to build and maintain trust among countries so that we have a foundation on which to work to ensure peace and prosperity in the region. So I'd like to explain 2 points in this regard. First, Japan's new security strategy reflects the vision of FOIP, which is free and open in the Pacific. So ASEAN leaders adopted the AOIP, as you know, which is stand for the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific in 2019. And AOIP provides a guideline for ASEAN's engagement in the Indo-Pacific region. And in the same year, Japan and ASEAN confirmed their shared aim of promoting a rule-based Indo-Pacific region that is free and open. And furthermore, in 2020, Japan and ASEAN noted that both AOIP and FOIP concepts shared fundamental principles of promoting peace and cooperation, and as a result, they began to engage in enhanced cooperation initiatives designed to promote AOIP cooperation. So now, currently, there are more than 70 active projects all over ASEAN. 70? Yeah, 70 that are supporting the realization of AOIP. So, yes, and I'd like to mention that Japan appreciates that Cambodia is the first ASEAN country to support FOIP concept. Yeah. The second point I'd like to mention is that Japan will continue to promote rule of law, including UN Charter and its principle. Japan appreciates and commends Cambodia's unwavering stance of opposing any use of threat of force to infringe on the territorial integrity of other countries.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Tomo. So, as the audience know that the most enthusiastic support of the national security strategy of Japan would be United States. Following the statements, we can see the welcoming statement by the Secretary of State Antony Blinken. So in this regard, I would like to relate the statement to the relation between U.S. and Japan. So how would the U.S. important to Japan, and whether because of the domestic issue in the U.S., whether is there any policy change of the U.S. in the Indo-Pacific regarding the security issue? Yes.
Yes, that is a very good question. For us, it is vitally important to maintain and enhance the Japan-US alliance, which is a cornerstone of Japan's national security. And the US is Japan's key partner in promoting FOIP, free and open Indo-Pacific. And we need to build a relationship that is strong enough so as to be unaffected by domestic affairs. I do not think that domestic issues affect the overall US commitment to the Indo-Pacific because the region is so vital to the US interest. I observe that the US commitment is evidenced by President Biden's visit to Phnom Penh last November, and also hosting of US-ASEAN summit meeting in Washington, D.C. last May.
All right. Yes. So now we come to the last question of our dialogue, and I would like to know your perspective. Whether how would you picture these roles of the Japan in the security issue for today and in the future? Yeah.
Thank you. So Japan would like to take a leading role together with other countries in enhancing the peace, stability, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region. The Indo-Pacific region is one of the world's centers of economic growth. However, there are a variety of challenges in the region, including piracy, terrorism, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, natural disasters, environmental degradation, and illegal fishing. I just name a few. Yeah. And so tackling these will require our concerted efforts, and Japan will work together with other countries in this regard. So it is necessary to establish a maritime order in the region based on the rule of international law. Japan will continue to contribute to the region's peace and stability through capacity building initiative that focuses on maritime law enforcement, disaster risk reduction, anti-piracy, and nuclear non-proliferation. So Japan will continue its economic assistance For instance, in Cambodia, including supporting projects to enhance connectivity, such as the development of the Sihanoukville port development and the National Road 5 development, and providing grassroots support, for instance, the school development and others. Japan will continue to play a leading role in promoting high standard and mutually beneficial economic agreements. Let me also mention that Cambodia is an important partner to Japan in terms of working together for peace and stability in region and the wider world. So this year marks the 70th year anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two countries, and both leaders last November decided to upgrade its relation to the comprehensive strategic partnership from this year. I can give you a few concrete examples of the kind of cooperation I'm referring to. I recently visited Siem Reap and witnessed, with the support of Japan, Ukrainian landmine experts being trained on the landmine clearance by Cambodian experts. And Japan will continue to support the enhancement of Cambodia's capabilities to conduct PKO's operations around the world. Japan highly appreciates Cambodia's proactive contribution to the world peace and humanitarian projects, and I am confident that both countries will enhance their cooperation in the field of security and defense.
All right. That's really very thankful for the government of Japan, and on behalf of the Cambodian people, I'm very proud and really appreciate how the government of Japan have contributed and support Cambodia so far for the sake of the development and peace promotion.
You're welcome, Manaite.
So thank you, Mr. Tomo, because of we come out of the time. I think we can discuss only this topic, and I look forward to continuing this conversation in the near future. Yes. And yes, thank you once again for sharing your meaningful insight and your time today.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Okunchura, and thank you for this initiative, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to appear in this very important interview. And Somo-kun and Chumripriya.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dialogue is coming to an end. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.